physical media. So this is the Super Pocket, a new handheld system from Evercade, brought to you by HyperMegaTech and Premier PR, the people who send it across to me. And this isn't a full-on review, this isn't a initial unboxing thing, it's kind of a mix of all three. I've been lucky enough to have hands-on with this system for over a week or so now, and thankfully they sent me two versions. This is the Capcom edition, featuring built-in titles like Street Fighter, Mega Man, Final Fight, and a bunch more. And there's also the Taito version as well, which I wanted to unbox on cam. That's the one, it was one of those things where as soon as I started opening up the packaging and realizing how retro it was and how much it indulges in the physical clicks and clacks of old school gaming, I don't have any sort of profile thing online that would mean, look, we should target this guy for this sort of thing, but I cannot stress how much I absolutely love this stuff. So a quick little introduction to what these things look like when they're turned on, and then we're going to unbox the Taito version, and I'll show you the way that these all work. Hopefully I'll not trigger the light that I've got too much. But also in terms of volume and everything, there's a rocker thing on the back that you have to sort of crank up, and then it tries to remember the previous setting that you had. But there's some synthwave going on. It's very, very nice. So yeah, like I said, I've been playing this for a few days. Very many classics on here that you know, you probably grew up with. I'm a huge Street Fighter 2 fan. To this day, can barely progress in Bionic Commando. Got a lot further with the remake. And Final Fight's always been awesome. It's one of those things where if you were going to throw together a selection of Capcom titles, they've pretty much nailed it. And it is also worth throwing in that the emulation on this is very, very good. There's a menu button right here where you can go down and change a bunch of different things in regards to the display. You can change whether you want scan lines, whether you want things to be pixel perfect or not. Another thing is the difficulty options. One thing that puts a lot of people off if they're coming into old school games is the fact that, you know, so many different ways of, you know, the checkpointing barely existed. It wasn't really a thing, especially in the arcades. And if we're talking about really, really solid emulation, you know, you might just want to play through some games in a way that back in the day they wanted to take you money. So there is an easy mode here that you can flick on. I don't have it on right now. Or maybe I do. I don't think I put that on by default. Lol. Games journalist lol. I'm gonna keep that on so I don't get murdered too much when I'm demoing games to you. But yeah, so a very, very nicely put together system. And this little Evercade bit in the middle here is because the system actually supports other cartridges, which is extremely cool. And one of the things that I wasn't expecting to feel so damn good. So yeah, the Evercade thing, whenever you go on this, it'll just load whatever cartridges in the slot, which at the minute isn't anything. I'll quickly turn this off. But the cartridges overall just slide out. You know, you swap them back in different libraries of games. They're selling tons of these things in various different permutations. There's a Duke Nukem version that has 3 different games on it. This is the overall box that we're going to get to in a sec, the Taito edition. Just in a moment, but they also sent me, oh, it's not that one. They also sent me this old school Master System, you know, just whatever region you came from, Master System / Mega Drive cartridge. Which maybe you've got a soft spot for that type of groove, not to make it a bit too sexual on the YouTube, but I'm just saying, the way that these things are put together, this little click is very, very nice. You can hear that? One of those little clicks right there, and you get a little cartridge in there, which, you know, it's only going to work for a certain generation of person, a certain generation of gamer, but at the same time, any excuse to get hands-on with nice plastic cartridges again. I really liked when Nintendo brought them back for the Switch, but it was one of those things where that's just a nice little click there, nice little seal, little way for that to work. I'll pop this back on. Might take a little minute for it to boot back up again, but you can do these on the fly. You don't need to swap the system. You don't need to turn the system off altogether. I just did that to be super safe. If you're wanting to just swap some cartridges, swap some libraries of titles, providing you're not in the middle of something, you know, it's not accessing whatever the game is that's coming off the cartridge, that'll be completely fine. Middle button, go down to the Evercade stuff, and it'll just load the cartridge that you just put in. So yeah, this one has R-Type on, so I'm sorted, I'm fine. One thing to throw in as this thing freaks out is that sometimes when you put the other cartridges in, and I can't guarantee it does it for other systems just yet, is that when it loads, it does this weird boot ROM thing, which is a bit strange. Now you might be noticing that it says game over. It goes straight into what would be, you know, the arcade screen if you used to be in the arcades back in the day. One really cool little feature here is that I'll try and have a bit of game volume there. One cool little feature is that you actually push the select button at the bottom to put a coin in, which is a really nice, just a nice little feature, just a tiny little thing that they didn't have to think of, which I really, really like. And so yeah, I'm not going to spend too long playing these games, but, you know, it's one of those things where sometimes you just need a little bit of R-Type on the go. It's, you can't go wrong with the classics, let's say. Okay, I mean, I'm on easy mode, aren't I? So, probably why I'm doing so well. Unboxing time. Let's look at the Taito version. Like I said, they sent me 2 units. Thank you very much once again to the PR. There's the Taito version, there's the Capcom version. And I immediately went for Capcom because I have more association or more love of Capcom stuff than Taito. But it was one of those things where I was like, as soon as I started opening this, I was like, I want to do this again for the Taito version and get hands-on with the box. I'm ripping it. I'm getting in. I don't care. Okay. Because it's a really, really cool little system when you start sliding it out of the box. Everything comes very nicely packaged up. And inside this, it's just a very neat, pristine. You get a little USB cable as well. I should clarify that. You get a USB cable in here, in the bottom, because you don't have to do any batteries. Whole thing USB charged. Now, I haven't run out of battery whatsoever in the last week, so it's been pretty awesome on that front. But yeah, this is the Taito version. I think so far there are only the Taito and Capcom ones available, but we'll pop this one on. I wonder if there's any different background music. That's my question. I would assume it's one solid beat for the whole thing. But yeah, also back buttons. Oh, bit of music. Yeah, back buttons. And if you want the traditional Street Fighter experience, you want your heavy attacks on the shoulder buttons or the same background music, or on the same layout, you totally can. I'm going to accept wherever this stuff is. Who reads these? Not me. And we're in. Bubble. Space Invaders is in here somewhere as well. But yeah, if you want a little handheld, a bunch of Taito stuff, it's right there. Now, another thing which is awesome is that, like I said, they're doing various cartridges of certain franchises like Duke Nukem or whatever. But then, let's do some Space Invaders. Why not? For old school's sake. But yeah, they're doing like an Atari collection as well, which, as someone who loves Atari 50 and loves the making of Karateka from this year, I cannot get enough of just having a bunch of handheld Atari games. So it's like, I like having this as well. But just breathe in those sound effects. Let me turn this up a little bit. Oh yeah. It sounds like I'm doing a bit, but I love retro gaming so much that this is awesome. I'm loving it. I'm not going to make you watch Space Invaders too much in 2023, but nice enough version of that game. But yeah, swap yourself back out. Dive into something else. Enjoy some synthwave along the way. It's a nice little time. It's a very good combo. One thing I'm going to try, but what I haven't tried yet, is whether you can put the Capcom cartridge into the Taito game thing, and does this recognize the entire library being carried over? That's the question. That is the question. But yeah, overall, as someone who loves physical media, loves physical video games, loves the tactile feel of cartridges clicking together and everything that comes with it, I love this thing. I think that, you know, I end up wanting to buy my entire collection all over again, which is probably not advisable. Does it work? It does not work. I guess that's a buyer be aware thing. Not necessarily a bad thing. There's obviously a good reason they want you to buy multiple versions of the systems, but let it be known that if you buy the Capcom one or the Taito one, they will not work in each other's slots. So that's worth knowing. But yeah, overall though, I can't recommend the approach enough. I absolutely love the idea of steering into the physical media market so hard and doing it so well with really, really solid emulation and a really, really solid collection of games. Yeah, it's something that I'm going to spend a lot more time with. Like I said, this wasn't necessarily a review. It was just very much a showcase of what these bits of kit are. And I think they're very, very well done. When we talk about portable gaming, we talk about the Steam Deck, we talk about the Switch. It's nice just having a, Game Boy channeling release in here as well, that kind of holds its own and knows exactly what it is. I think by having a decent battery life and by having a solid amount of titles in here, that's kind of all you need to some degree, just to pop something out on the train, play a handful of games, and go from there. So I'm very much loving it, and I'm going to keep playing it. I don't have a final score for it. I can only recommend it overall.